Hello, hello, and hello. Welcome. This is a message from the very recent past to you in the very near future. And here in the past, we got some questions. We don't got a whole lot of answers. We are here hoping that you in the future, well, and me, because I'll be in the near future too, unless something goes horribly awry in the next few minutes, we're hoping that you and me and we can provide some answers. Because for now, all we have is questions and reckless speculation. It's one of the things I do best, or so I'm told. Get out of the way. That's delicious and refreshing. You know, someday I'll be able to be a little more frank with you all. For now, I'm still a little cagey. You know, he doesn't want to reveal too much, you know? At least that's kind of what I'm used to thinking. But I'm starting to think a little differently now. If we're all cagey, then there's no community. There's a lot of liars out there. And it's often hard to determine, it's hard to imagine who's lying. I mean, there are people that lie. They are stunning when you find that out. The whole thing is a lie, the whole life. But it's something that we should all get used to, the idea. Because lies are basically what we all live. In America, most of the things we were sold are lies. I imagine it's no different in just about every current culture. Probably a lot of lies out there. A lot of religions, a lot of governmental systems. They basically rely, if you'll pardon the poor phrasing, they rely on lies. They really do, in a lot of ways. But today we're going to talk about liars and the photos that they post. Like this one. It's patently false, way too late in the game to be, we're just going to date it here, so there's no mystery. We're building the Library of Congress here. All these very vague lines and fake cranes they put everywhere. If you think about these pictures as, how would you edit this building, this photograph of this building, to look like it was under construction? Well, you got to get rid of half of it and then add construction stuff, right? So why couldn't that be done here? You separate the building, put it on a new canvas or whatever, add in construction stuff, or put it on a picture of another, a couple people in there, then you got to add some cranes and stuff on the top. Oh yeah, that's realistic. Just a couple guys standing way back there in the roof for the picture. I mean, really? And, a little context clue in the background here. There you go. But you don't see any of this being built, not in this picture, and you don't see any actual workers there, just cranes operating automatically. I know this is just one picture, and I know it's hard to imagine that people lie like this, but they do, and this is not even a good example. But this is a better one. This is a construction photo of Library of Congress, I believe. Yeah, that's right, construction photo. It's part of a small series. I don't know what this guy's building, except, what is he, texting someone? Impossible. There you go. So yeah, here's the construction crew. 3 men and a baby. And they look like they've never done work in those clothes, at least, in their entire life. With those white top hats. Like, give me a freaking break. Who does construction work in a white top hat? Of any kind. I would unclog my toilet wearing a white top hat. Here they're just putting these little door frame pieces on. And I mean, it's ridiculous. The whole thing's done. It's like, well, it's just put there. This is a construction photo. This is a construction photo. Then I didn't know I was in construction. But apparently I am, if this is a construction photo. Like I said, it's part of a little series. Here's another one. Yeah, we're still texting someone somehow. And there's a ladder. I mean, the ladder says builders, so definitely building. I mean, right? Couldn't put a sign on something that wasn't real. You get another one here where you take a completely finished building, you dump it on a construction site, you build stuff on top of it, maybe wipe out a dome here. This is supposed to be the Central Parliament building under construction. In the foreground here, oh yeah, you got some stone. All right, all this is going to be used on this. There's nothing much left here to build. What are they using all this for? I mean, and then you got these crappy little houses that they built around it for the foreman. These are just, to me, these are just terrible. But I know that's not really going to convince most people, especially if they're not already convinced. So let's look at this one. This is a destruction of an Italian tower, we're told. I believe this is at one of the World's Fairs. And I like this. This is a technique that they use often, where they just sort of smudge it to look like, smoke or whatever, or something maybe moving. People often lecture you, you don't understand how photography in the era worked, okay? Long exposure times, and things will get blurry. It's like, right. So this guy should be blurry then, right? But he's not. Nothing else is, except for over here. But in this case, they're not using it to blur anything as far as motion. I guess they're trying to pass off as construction dust. Well, if you've ever seen a building fall, the dust is insane. A building, especially one that's deliberately brought down. Now here you have a building that's just collapsing on one side somehow. And it must have been collapsing insanely fast for it to just look like this, to be at this angle already. You imagine how quickly this thing must be falling. Yet no blur. And honestly, I don't know what we're doing here. Just as the moment of impact, the statue, we took this picture. I mean, I don't understand why it's blurred right here, but what's what we're expected to believe? These guys standing this close to this thing as that falls, I mean, they're going to be just hit with the tidal wave of debris in moments. And they don't really seem too concerned with it. But what's even more ridiculous is the fact that there are people over here. You may not be able to see them, it depends on your resolution, but people sitting. There's one here, see his leg sitting, and one leg's up on a step, and one here. And not only that, but there's someone sitting down here. So what, you just get a murder man with the falling building, and no one cares? No, it's just fake. Some of this stuff was added in somehow. Well, how else could this even exist? And if it fell just randomly, what's all the wreckage back here? And I say, nah. Here, this is allegedly the crew that built this. Look at them. They look exactly like the same crew we see everywhere in this era of fraudsters. Just take a look. Alright? Alright, we see you guys. Specifically you. And you. Okay? Probably you too. These faces here. You haven't seen the last of some of these fellas. No, sir. You. And you. Probably you. Oh, you jerk-offs. As usual in this generation of climbers. These guys up here, which, personally, this guy here looks exactly like this guy here. Pipe and everything. See that? And then this guy here looks exactly like this guy here. Can you prove it? No. But see him like a doofy hat, mustache, doofy hat, mustache. And that's something that you see often, where they use the same people. They just sort of superimpose it over and over again. You got a kerosene and an apron. That means you built this? I know people back there were crazy. You used to just wear work clothes or just whatever. But I just get the feeling that these are just a bunch of shucksters. This is allegedly a construction photo, although what it is exactly they're building isn't clear since it's pretty much built. I see someone doing laundry up here, if this is to be believed. I wouldn't walk on this scaffold if that's what this is. Would you? What is this? Just standing right here on this thing? That doesn't seem so secure at all. Here's allegedly the world's first Ferris wheel being built. Happened to be the biggest one ever. The first one built was the biggest and best one ever, which show me time when that's actually reality. See, these are the actual cars that are in this thing when it finally gets going. And again, I'm not really sure how we're building this up here. I mean, I see men climbing over it, around it, but it looks to me like just a deconstructed photo. They've wiped off half of this along with the rest of the sky, and they added their usual assortment of weird cranes with no counterweight. Just ropes and pulleys, huh? And one ladder, which kind of explains how you get up part of it. I suppose you could climb this all the way up, but I just don't buy it. And this shot of the Capitol building being constructed is patently ridiculous because most of it's a drawing. Right? Take off the dome with the white, add a crane coming out of the middle of it, and some scaffolding. I mean, what is this? How would this even work? You gotta explain it somehow, but I'm not sure that they're doing a good job here. Pre-Photoshop era, just like right now it's pre-AI photo era, people do fall for it. But the more and more this technology gets known, Photoshop itself is as old as photography itself. They've been doctoring photos since the very first photos ever. It wasn't called Photoshop then, of course. That's just the name of a program, but it was, doctoring photos, altering photos. Call it what you want to, okay? Here we have a group of assistants and officers at the rendezvous camp near Belmont, Nevada. This is from the NARA photo album. And yes, if not an exact feature, some of these fellas just look, well, downright evil. As a matter of fact, if I ran into this group out here in the wild, I'm pretty sure that rape and robbery were in my immediate future. Can't imagine any interaction with them turning out well for you anyway. I'm sure it turns out great for them. Unless you happen to be more than them, then you might win. But this traveling gang of, officers and assistants, these are the ones out here exploring allegedly the new world and, making contact with the natives. And you can see how that could go wrong if these are your spokespeople. But the background is really what concerns me, because from this point on, here in this line here, it's pretty clearly a photograph, just sort of a backdrop. I mean, unless the real world turns sort of cartoonish after a little bit of a distance away, which I've never seen anything like that. But there's definitely a difference between that and that, wouldn't you say? This grass and that grass over here? I'd say so. Distance can only explain so much. And again, you can form your own conclusions. I'm not 100% certain on any of this stuff. These are just observations I'm making, and feel free to disagree. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, who wants to sit here and say we've been lied to? I mean, it's not fun. No one sets out and says, today I'm going to take a very unpopular viewpoint that's going to cause me scorn and also some stress and some possible feelings of belittlement, as I realize that most of my life I've been lied to, and no one wants to set out on that journey. Yet it's one we find ourselves on sometimes. And that would be the only difference between you and I if we were to disagree on this. It's just that, well, enough people have lied to me, enough things have lied to me that I am very cynical. Admittedly so. Now, this is a lie, but it's hard to... I think this is a lie anyway, a facade to focus away from the main event, but this picture doesn't do me justice. It just happens to be there. This one's a little better, and this is the Cliff Palace in Mesa Verde, Colorado, and I find this entire area, again, not from this picture particularly, but the entire area very sketchy, and we'll get into that a little bit later. This is a Cheyenne, this is all from the same album, by the way. This is NARA stuff. This is the Cheyenne portrait of a man who's holding his arms and head a little awkwardly, and he's got this weird stand behind him. Again, I don't know why that keeps reoccurring, but I don't imagine he's old enough he needs help to be propped up. I mean, maybe it's where to stand, I guess, but the name stand alone kind of tells you something else. It kind of looks like he's not on the ground, but okay, maybe he is. It's this pant leg, really, that makes me think something weird is going on here. That's sort of a luminous outline doesn't happen in real life very often. So that leads me to believe there's something fucky going on. Here is a pueblo where the Hopi live, we're told. This is supposed to be a place that's currently being lived in. And does it look lived in to you? I mean, there are things hanging around, but it looks like ruins that they just rolled up on, threw a few bundles of sticks and some pottery around, leaned some stuff against the wall here, some branches or whatever. And you just see this sort of painting of these people as just being morons. You know, the type of people that live amongst wreckage and ruin today are mentally unsound for the most part. Like homeless type people today are usually meant there's something wrong with them. They don't otherwise live like this. I mean, does this place look well maintained? If this was your home and you're a Native American man, you're not some idiot. You're a competent, surviving, hunting, farming, gathering, whatever it is, you're able to live out here, no problem. To learn how to grow anything out here, to learn how to hunt anything, to learn how to raise a family out here, have a village out here, you need to be savvy. Does this look savvy to you? These people look like they were coerced into doing this stuff. Sit around here, hold this bow. You know, this guy looks normal-ish, but yeah, you hold this bow, you sit right here in this piece of trash, you stack some stuff up, put the body that died, you put that up there on the wall. You know, it's just like the way you would store your pottery. It's on that ladder, like just... I made some food. I'm going to put it in the most precarious place possible for it to get broken. Cool with that? Yeah. It just looks staged. Because they had to paint these pictures to look like, oh, well then whatever we did after we did them a favor. They were idiots. I mean, look, is it the best you can come up with? This? To hold this up? No. The people that built this thing originally were not this daft. If you can build a ladder like that, you're not building this. You wouldn't let it fall into disrepair like this if you built it in the first place. That's why I don't buy it. I don't buy it. For good reason, too. This one's a little bit better. So, and we'll get to some better ones that are color photo in the end. But this is back to that Cliff Palace place. There you go. And this is why I think this is a facade built out of rubble. First of all, because there's lots of rubble right here. This looks... In other pictures, it's hard to tell. This looks like a stupid way to build this. If you lived out here and chose this to be your city or your palace, you wouldn't do it like this. You would build it out of the elements, not right open like this. There's been a lot of work to this site done over the years, and you'll see that later, that there are like open pools here they don't look like they've been excavated. They look like they've been added. But one of my main reasons that triggered this thought about this site in particular is this. There are these windows or these holes, right, that we're told that these right here. But usually, I think these are misinterpreted when they're seen as they're not supposed to be windows. What they are normally in a stone old ruin like this is used to be a wooden post that was here, like a lateral post that would help support the ceiling or roof that has rotted out and disappeared or fallen out. And that's why there'd be a square there. And you'll see it time and time again in old ruins, old buildings. Sometimes they're windows, but usually the windows are going to be, lower and bigger, more functional, that little peephole. And so if that's the case, and you could see here, this might be the case, but even if it's not, let's say you were building this and you wanted to leave that open. You could do that when you're using block like this, right? But now explain to me then these. What are these? Are we saying that they miraculously carved random squares in here just for kicks, so that this formed from some sort of erosion, happen to be evenly spaced like this? Or are you saying that this is hollow and they were able to live in there? Those are windows for them. Or what? I mean, are they even addressed? No, it's almost like, look here, ignore this. But I'm thinking that perhaps this was the palace. And it's just been inundated with mud, snow, water, God knows, for however long. And the stone, it sort of just absorbs all the mud, takes it all on, and the wood posts rot out, and then you have these holes, which would make this make sense, be plausible. But of course, they can't have us thinking that people are that old, or that people were in this area for that long, or that any sort of deluge happens. That's one clue. It leads me to think that. Here we go again. This is in New Mexico, and here you got some natives and their handlers, basically, standing around, doing whatever they do, I guess, amongst shards of broken pottery and a pretty much deserted town, and little wispy ghost people here and there that presumably had just took off running and moved during the photo shoot, so you only got part of them here. I don't know what the story is. And then, of course, when you get up here, you get your usual fake background. Your fake little picture, backdrop, whatever it is, back there behind this thing. Make the whole thing looking like a set. Very much like a set. Because, of course, if you're out there faking the funk, acting like you are conquering a land that is full of just savage people, broken people, that have nothing, primitive, it's not so bad, is it? Rather than the truth, which is probably closer to, you stamping out all the people that lived here. White, black, native, whatever. Stamping all of them out. Taking over all the things and then casting them in this light by photoshops like this amongst these ruins. I don't know. Just, I'm saying both those stories are equally as plausible. Equally as plausible. I don't know what to make of these. Crow delegation of 1872, we're told, they came to the Capitol, and not sure why these guys are posing with them. As if these guys are representing America, well, fuck, we're in trouble. And it doesn't look like they got such a good deal, obviously. These men are very fierce looking and very dark looking. Many of them. Not all of them, but many of them. And I'm not even sure what this person is. This one doesn't even look like she fits in the photo. And the resolution's different. But regardless, these are odd photographs, if you see what I mean here. Not very different from what an AI generator could do now. And the ones that don't turn out that great, well, you just sort of make them blurry or put a little damaged thing like this and act like the photo's damaged. But the ones that are passable, you leave them be. You hope that the resolution's never good enough in the future that anyone with any good eyesight can really zoom in and see what's going on. Or if you did, because if they did, they might be liable to think that something's strange. Again, I'm being very deeply cynical, of course, but that is the nature of what I do here. Strange little bow tie. Imagine walking around a bow tie like this in that era. You gotta be a pretty cocky MFer to be rolling around like this in this era. Just begging to have that hat knocked off your head. This one I talked about once before I think it got cut off, I remember right. But this is allegedly feeding Indians at Camp Apache in Arizona. Same photo album. And of course all these alleged Indians are very blurry. Because supposedly they've been sitting here and they've just been milling about and their sort of movement is being captured by the cameras. But that's why these are so perfectly clear. These feed baskets, presumably. There's a hat lying there for some reason. But these guys, the whole time that they've been milling about, these guys have been standing perfectly still, like a toy soldier in their midst, just standing in the middle of them. And here's your onlookers back here, your usual, that are probably duplicated. Stand here for a second, move over here, stand here for a second, which is why you get a little movement there. But not these guys. These guys stayed still the entire time, just standing upright like that. Yep, soldiers indeed. And him too. He just stood still, holding the box like that. All leads me to think that something weird's going on. X got the usual little backdrop here behind the real stuff. That one almost looking like you'd see the edge of it. You can, but you tell me fourth floor starts like that. And then also over here you've got these little houses. Now, if these people lived where they tell us that they didn't build houses for themselves, so why the fuck would they build birdhouses like this? You think a Native American that lives in a pueblo is going to build a birdhouse like this? Why? And then travel with it? Or is it more so, these shouldn't be in the pic, they're props? Because usually they do things like put them here, buried in the hay, so it makes it look like there's a building behind the hay. It gives it added depth. They only used one, and the other ones they put on the shelf, and that accidentally got in the shot. They figured no one would be smart enough back then to figure out what they're up to. That's what I think. You explain the birdhouses. Why would this group of criminals be running around with birdhouses? What, they have a bird fetish? Get out of here. Who went out, stamping out natives and pillaging the land and cutting down every redwood? We're actually very fond of birds. Unlikely, says I. Here you've got them all sitting down here barefoot. A group of Mojave Indians, we're told, all with the same haircut. And yeah, that's a cut. It's not just growing wild. And they all have bangs that were cut. So I don't know. Does that seem normal to you? You guys know entire groups of people rocking the same haircut? Man, woman, and child? This dude looks naked, sliding his butt around. Here we get to see them more up close here. And it's like smelling like a stick. These people just don't look normal. Do they look normal to you? I mean, is it just me, or are they just, it's like they took a lot of people that were mentally ill and put wigs on them and just had them out here just holding props and just to paint them in the light of as being these morons. And you got a blur of one every now and then, it's not fitting the bill. People out here living out here in the wild. Does this look like what you're seeing here? This man have a frying pan on his head? What does that handle? And what is this? He looks photoshopped in. I mean, why is there a triangle right here? Look at James Brown, his mugshot. Matter of fact, they all look like James Brown's mugshot. I'm gonna get up and do my thing! Here we have an unexplained photo of a group of Zuni chiefs with boy. Just happened to have a white boy with them. This guy looks like looks like you know something, buddy. What's going on here? This one looks a little guilty, or concerned at least. Why him? Why this picture? Why those nails? Creepy as hell. And why are they in the studio with this clearly drawn fake background? With a piece of linoleum that's curling up at the edges here. They're just standing on it to take a picture, make it look like they're inside of a home. Why the fakery? Oh yeah, hey, come on, Zuni chiefs. Hold this mysterious white boy and put something on his head and take a picture of him. It doesn't make any sense. Now, this is AI stuff, then maybe they just said this is the best one we got, let's run with it. Or maybe it's just a staged photo shoot with some weirdos. I don't know. Here's one. Look, it looks like they drew like a braid on him here. This black piece here just to sell the idea as a native. But yeah, he's just out here chilling, cool as a cucumber, no big deal. Out here in the desert. Yeah, that's the background. And yeah, we're out here and there's nothing out here. It's just ruins. except for the whole dirt magically turning into a different image halfway through. And also, let's say this is real. Let's say that you are this man, and you're gonna stand up, say this tall. That seems about right. If you were to stand up, like, say this tall man, you're gonna start walking this way. Here, feet down here. All right, here you go. Your feet's right here. Maybe you start walking that way a little bit, so it starts slanting a little bit. And then what? You hit the cattle. What? Your horse is the size of your shoe. There's no way that this is as far away as that to be that small. That man would be the size of those. No, 2 different pictures. This one, even right here, delineation photographs. And this is not me editing anything. I suppose I could by becoming even more obvious. Let's do this. Exposure, contrast. There we go. We can at least see the horse better. You think that's the same picture? Then I got all kinds of stuff to sell you, boy. This is all from the same photo album. Everything we've seen. Now, if everything we see here, maybe I've done nothing here to show you that this is indeed some fakery, right? Maybe you're still like, I don't know, man. It looks pretty real to me. Okay, same photo album. And after that, I'll rest my case on this one. Explain to me this. What we're told is a necklace of human fingers. The Chippewa or war thing I know about fingers is that I have some of them. And they don't look like this. Do yours look like this? No matter how you cut my finger off and put on a necklace. You think it would look like this? You think the nail would still be... This is so obviously clay. Strung through like this? A necklace. A finger necklace that they're going to wear to show apparently how savage they are. What's this? The heart of the organ? I mean, this just looks like leather that's wadded up and tied up. Or clay. Like Play-Doh. Putty. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous. They're just going to show you this with no context and tell you, yeah, this is what the savages wore. Do you see what I'm saying? They're just selling you on the idea that these people were something that they're not. And if this is part of the photo album, that these are all in, you got to question all of it. You got to. Dumbest thing I may have ever seen. I think these are still up in the Library of Congress, by the way. So anyway, I'll let that ride. We'll look at a couple of things I come across here. Usually on Scriptopedia, something I come across that's just really silly. It's just evident that this all such nonsense. Hey, this is about Cass Gilbert, the famous architect that happens to be so connected and probably completely fake. Here we're told he dropped out of Macalester College at age 17, joined Abraham Radcliffe in his office in St. Paul. Then afterwards, in 1878, he enrolled in the architecture program at MIT. Here's Abraham Radcliffe, the man that he supposedly went to join his office. This office was closed in 1868. So how could Cass Gilbert 10 years later go to work for him there? Come on, editors. You gotta be better than this. Go back and fix it now. Here we have the founding of Salt Lake City. We have on July 24th, 1847, 143 men, 3 women, and 2 children founded the city. They allegedly were running from the governmental harassment, even though the government gave them money like a year later, and were running to find their own colonies to practice polygamy the way they wanted to. That's interesting, because 143 men and 3 women are going to run away to practice polygamy. So what, one guy gets 3 wives and the other 142 men are just there supporting him? Very unlikely, if I know anything about men. And I do, because I am one. I've met a few. Here's the Macalester College. They opened for courses in 1885. But wait a second. I was told that Cass Gilbert went there before 1878. How is that? Another discrepancy in Cass Gilbert's life. Probably because, he didn't exist. Here you have an interesting story about P.T. Barnum. People praised him for his good works and called him an icon. He asked the Evening Sun to print his obituary just prior to his death so that he might read it. He asked about the box receipts for the day and a few hours later died from a stroke that he apparently predicted that morning. Ridiculous. I feel like I'm going to have a stroke tomorrow, boys. You want to print that obituary now? This is a ridiculous snippet. After the fire of Seattle, they built 3,465 buildings in a year. So believable. That's like, what, 10 a day? Out of here. This is my favorite about the chimneys. They say the most prized architectural aspect of the house was the chimney. Large and usually made of brick or stone, the chimney very fashionable. Coal made it popular, because before that, a wood fire was burned on the floor in the center of the house, with the smoke escaping only through windows and vents. Really? With coal, however, this method could not suffice, because the smoke was unacceptably black and sticky. So therefore, the windows and vents wouldn't work, and they had to invent the chimney. How patently ridiculous to think that burning wood would be any different than burning coal, as far as you're going to build one in the middle of your floor and let the smoke escape through windows and vents? Yeah, right. Does this person that wrote this ever even been near a fire? This one I find interesting. This is a rather current article about the ancient rainforest of Antarctica, where they tell you that the average temperature here is 53 degrees Fahrenheit, similar to the Ohio River Valley. And they are trying to tell you that this is what mild climate Antarctica was all like. The best part, though, comes down here. When they say the major culprit for such a warm climate 90 million years ago, the warmest the global climate has been in the last 140 million years, was the high concentration of greenhouse gas estimated at between 1120 to 1680 parts per whatever. Okay. Today's figure is 414. So let's see. They say one drawback to having global temperatures as warm as they were is that sea level was 550 feet higher than today. Explain this to me. The global climate here, 90 million years ago, was the highest it's ever been. 3 times higher than today. Yet, we're told that we are the cause of this. So you mean to tell me that 90 million years ago, when there were no people, the concentration of greenhouse gas was 3 or 4 times higher? Well then, what are we worried about? Explain that, Mr. Scientists. Now let's circle back, Psyche style, to the Mesa Verde Park, where we see stuff like this, which seems very unnatural. Where have we seen this before? Oh yeah, everywhere. China we saw it, randomly. And this is called the North Window. Fascinating window, huh? And what are these? Oh, don't you worry about that. You go back inside now and play your video games. If this is your home, and you're building a palace, what good would this do, being out in the open like this? Wouldn't you want to nestle it under here, away from the snow? Why are these uniform holes looking like they're spaced evenly? Because perhaps they're posts where posts were, and this whole thing was a building. They still build like this in Africa today. They build these massive mud or adobe constructions with post holes in them. It's like the wood rotting away. And the more you look at this place, the more you see squares and what look like bricks and blocks, or spaces where they were. If you ever put like a tile mosaic down on a sort of a mortar and then you remove it, or later on you're deconstructing, you're popping facade off of a wall, whatever, it looks like this. When you pop stone off of a wall where you've attached it. How much this is fake and how much this is added by archaeologists, I don't know. I'm assuming the part that stands out that they want you to see, to distract you from the concept that people could have been here for that long, to distract you from the concept that people that were just as advanced as us were here first. They can't have that. Then you start asking, well, what happened to them? And could that happen to us? And you start asking lots of questions like, well, was this place really discovered when they said it was? How can you discover something that's had people living on it? How long have you known this? These kind of questions. They can't ask that. So they got to create the system of education where everyone just regurgitates information the way they're trained. 20 or 30 years, by the time they get out, the more of a professional you are, the more time you got to spend in school. Until the ability to reason is completely removed from you. The ability to contest, all of your prior teachers and educators and mentors, to call them all liars or even worse, that they've been tricked, is impossible. It's unthinkable. It's a sense of arrogance, a false sense of entitlement that they gain as a result of some of this education. It's really difficult to shake. But this looks like a wall to me. This is not natural erosion. This whole area has, to me, the telltale markings of people that have been here long ago. All this. Why are these square holes? These look like columns. These square holes where block once was. It appears to me. You can't see. What is all this? Oh no, that's nothing. That's just a rock. Hey, well, check it out over here. You'll see where they really built a palace. Boy, howdy. Now you really see something. There you go. Check that out. Look at these people. Look at that. Look at the complexity. Look at these irregular blocks they stuck in this mud here. Well, how'd they even do that? Man, it's hard to picture chimpanzees doing that, don't you think? As if we're somehow some sort of elitists. Well, we're way better than them. Like, our art is fantastic. Theirs, they scribble like, squirrels on the rocks. And then that's how you know what they worshipped. You have this thing right in the middle of the park. That doesn't look like part of an old wall or structure at all. Not at all. Nope. It's just a natural anvil. All mountains go bald like that. You wait till you get old enough. Just like in Cisteron, this isn't a giant tree trunk at all, is it? No, it is not. You, sir, dabble in conspiracy. Therefore, must be a Trump supporter and a racist. This is in the same Mesa Verde. There you are. Unexplained little square caves and windows. Unexplained little post holes, evenly spaced. Unexplained all of this. Except to tell us that this is just natural. This is all very natural. All that you see. Definitely not a circular tower, like the kind we would build with layers just like this. With brick just like this, and a decorative layer here, or whatever it is. We wouldn't do that. We would if it were a tower, but it's not. It just happens to be a round bit of rocks. That's it. These blocks, these are natural blocks. Don't forget it. Look at that. That is not brick. Au naturale. You go back and you look at the site that they built for you and you enjoy it. You quit asking these questions. You're hurting the ranger's feelings. He's gonna kick you out. And I says that this whole thing was once inhabited and maybe water flooded this whole place. The whole place. And this is just layer after layer pancaking in on each other. Just do I know this? No, I don't know this. Just like I don't know that this is a Civil War person that's dead. Maybe. It looks to me like more of a statue that got smashed. I don't know that your face breaks like this and leaves, bloodless lines where hollow inside. Kind of looks to me like a statue that got smashed with some human hair on it. I don't know. It could be. This could be real or it could be a drawing. This is another Civil War shot. And I got some of these. These are some of the Civil War photographs I looked at earlier, but I found some high definition versions of them. A hand-drawn background. This is the bridge they just destroyed. General Burnside. Same 4 guys hanging out as in every Civil War picture. And okay, it's definitely an old world bridge. I don't really see how it's destroyed unless you're talking about the railing here. What is that supposed to be? I guess you broke the ends off. Good job. I don't think this counts as being a bridge destroyed. I think that is pretty much a cartoon background, but I suppose trees could look like that. I doubt it. I mean, look at the real tree, and then look at the fake tree. What are they, 20 yards apart? Balderdash. Poppycock. Here you go. Here's one. Civil War picture. Except it's not. It's an AI creation. Oh, it's a little bit out of order that I wanted to do, but whatever. It's raw. This stuff is raw. It's uncut. You know, it's barely edited. It's just, I'm not going to jump around. It doesn't have to be perfect for you people. You guys are the perfect ones. This is art. It's supposed to be imperfect. And this is a modern day recreation. You know, they lived here, not in the building. This looks like it was hastily constructed within the last 100 years to look like a ruin. I mean, the stone is a different color. Here's another one. This is they keep restoring this part when it breaks. Because you remember this one we saw earlier from the 50s. Okay, you remember the one we looked at earlier from the 50s. Remember the holes? No, they're not holes anymore, are they? Look, they put posts in them. See? Little ones, though. These couldn't be post holes if these were the posts, but I think they're missing the point. It's not just a decorative thing. And still doesn't explain the ones that were up here. If anything, it makes them even more mysterious, although I'm sure they filled those in by now. And as you can kind of see, look at this, looks like a weird resin. Like it looks like what's left behind when you glue something and you pull it off. It's just like a weird, not unnatural looking resin, which they probably use to fill in any of these gaps. And they probably use it to, glue this stuff together. Can I prove any of this? No. Same colored resin, though. Wow, what a coincidence. But no, I can't prove any of this. Of course not. But I do question it. I understand what a motive could be, although you can't prove motive either. Friggin' love parks. Trying to find his way to the food court. But he's short-sighted. Here's some examples of early photo manipulation. Obviously, this is for artistic effect. Unless you truly believe that Ghost Santa Claus is coming in here with a tube sock. What is that? More photo trickery. Doll is about to reprimand someone. What do you think you're doing? These are the orange pickers of LA. Completely not suspicious at all. Especially with the same old guy here in all these photographs. Not sure if that's supposed to be a woman or not. Or that. Or whatever the clothes they're wearing is. But yeah, somehow they're picking these oranges and filling these crates. Until you get to the background. Very clean break on that fake backdrop, isn't it? Here's the band, the wedding band. And just look, it's our same old friend that we've seen in every other picture so far. Look at this guy. Why, he's got a brother right here. And it looks like this is his son right here. It's a whole family affair. Not just those three either. Look at this fellow. Look at these guys. Oh, brothers. Look, there's another one there. I don't know. The similarities are too much for me. And I'm not sure what this cadaver-like woman is doing or why she's so encroached upon. Suppose this is supposed to be the bride and groom, and this is the wedding band. Just getting a little cozy, isn't he? Even stepping on her dress. What an uncouth young lad. Isn't his horn sticking into the back of her head? Sure looks like it. And where is the rest of his horn? And his? Something's not quite right, as you can tell. They look like musicians, do you? This guy looks like he's just about to just run to the nearest living thing and kill it. Very, very curious. Amongst other things. Very complicated looking horn, this one. Not sure why you need to molest it like that, sir. Take it easy. This is a wedding, Supposed to be all in good fun. Here we go, more of those world-famous Civil War photos. No telling what this guy's doing back here, or why the shadow's like that, or why his buttons are so big. Very casual, yeah. Just standing around, doing the Civil War thing with this giant cannon here. Nothing fake about this. This is General Burnside, apparently reading the morning newspaper, along with this feller. This one's confusing because of some of the items lying around. Like this clothesline that has a horse saddle on it. But then the horse saddle kind of takes on the shape of a horse too. See, there's the mouth down there that's sort of grazing. I don't know if it's not sure what it's supposed to be. It's almost as if an AI generator were to make it. Here it looks like they've smudged out a lady and another small girl. Not sure if the resolution on these YouTube videos will show you this. Show you what I mean here. Here in this smudge of what I'll be told is, yeah, you understand that if photography works, mate. Oh, I understand it all right. So we'll just do this. You see in here what you've got. You got a woman, it looks like a woman, maybe a man, sitting here. This is their hat. Brim, face, or hair, whatever, shoulder, right, shoulder. Then over here you've got another hat brim, face, whatever, shoulder. And it looks like a young lady and a young girl or something. Though the proportions are all off, and they don't have any feet or anything. So they just sort of smudge them out, okay? We'll just undo it here so you can see what I mean. The resolution is good enough. You'll see what I mean. See them? Hat. What else is this smudged? What else do you got over here? You got someone, it looks like, this is a bare ass, it looks like. They're like using the restroom or something. Or maybe they're just sitting there with their arms folded. They got this stupid pirate hat shape on. It's black. They just smudged it out. They smudged this person out for whatever reason. They didn't fit the scene they were trying to create. With these guys, they're photographing, and then whatever else is actually going on here. Here's this one. They're just a war for the Union. Yeah, same eight guys standing around here. And you have some just strange anomalies. Like, for one thing, is this wagon, it's supposed to be the photographer's wagon? These things movable? Look how rickety these wheels are. Look how bent, and how does this even work? The way these wheels are all jambled about. Then you've got this dog that sort of disappears. No forelegs. I guess maybe it's extra long. It happens to be just right behind this guy, who seems to be also just sort of stuck in there to show you that, oh yeah, see, we're done with black people. This guy is sitting on what? This one. Recognize that face? I do. And what is this, a door right here? How's it open? How could this be a door that would open with this board overlapping it like this? In fact, this whole building makes no sense. Brick chimney that just disappears down here. And then over here you have, like, what? How do you get up there? You come out this skinny door that's the size of, and you cross this board and climb up this weird ladder that's like attached to nothing. Like, what is going on here? And of course, up here, you have your usual climbers. Hey, guys. Is that, like, in proportion to you? If the top of this tower is right here, right there in view, then you think these guys climb 2 stories up and they're that small? Yeah, right. Then right next to it, you got this double ladder, this ladder going up here. It has no rungs on it. What's the point of that? Now then, speaking of Civil War pictures, let's talk about the AI stuff that's been going on. And I'm sure that this is a topic that is now, ever since we sort of touched on it 6 months ago, is pretty much taking the world by storm, and it's probably oversaturated, and you're probably tired of hearing about it. But, you know, sometimes I'm having a little fun with it, experimenting with different artists, and it's amazing what the AI will do with such little prompts, but it'll recognize modern artists. For example, if you want a Civil War photograph painted in the style of Salvador Dali, it will do it. Funny things, hybrid monsters, and no, I'm not talking about the Mitch McConnell as a woman. Different kind of monster. Here's some random Civil War paintings that I conjured out of it. Since the only combat photos you ever see are paintings of the Civil War, which I wonder why, I decided to come with a few of my own. And with some various, creative liberties here, like double horse, triple horse even. This guy's kind of on a cell phone ordering pizza while he's going into battle. This guy doesn't know how to wear his helmet strap. This guy doesn't know what team he's on. This guy is drunk. Then you have this sort of digital rendition with sad horses, and one retreating soldier, angry he's been spotted. Also, sad horse going into battle alone. How noble. This one is pretty incredible with these fellas. No one's seeming to know who's on whose team. Not the same here, but it does some very lifelike stuff as well. I mean, this is clearly a digital image, and all I was looking for was Venetian masks that were unpopulated. I had a hard time trying to get that, but I did get populated with some very interesting, I mean, I would not know, especially the hair. Look at the hair. It looks so lifelike. I would not know that this was AI creation. I would think this was just a heavily doctored photograph. This is just incredible artwork. I mean, the technical skill to do this. Now, again, they would make the kind of mistakes a human wouldn't make with these the eyes all funky, but the rest of it is just astounding. Here you go. This old tower here. I should tell you about this. This is in Armenia. Nah, just kidding. This is an AI creation. Got you. And where have we seen those kind of ladders before? I swear, where have we seen ladders that aren't quite practical? Oh yeah, those old Hopi villages. How about that? Here we have in 1910, one of the finest Victorian era. Psych! This is also AI, but you probably knew that. This is also a fake creation that I had constructed for me by the computer gods. Ain't that right, Joe? Yeah, look at him getting down, dude. I should show you the real Joe Biden. I don't know what's more disturbing. Anyway, back to Joe breakdancing. That's much more like it. Get it, Joe. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. They don't even slow down. Oh, Joe got the moves. Look at this bad man right now. Oh, yeah. Oh, hit. Get it, Joe. Go ahead. Go ahead. Kind of looking like a Donald Trump hybrid. Oh, what's he gonna do next? Oh, snap. Now, obviously, this is all Joe Biden AI stuff that I made. That one looks very close to real life. Simply, maybe not the picture, but the activity and the apparent confusion. This is all stuff that I have tried to conjure up out of our Commander-in-Chief. Look at him go. So proud of our world leader. He's not here, he's in a boat. Can't really tell though, but I mean, what a guy. Just skateboarding / skating / roller skating / rollerblading through any number of schools. And here he is controlling the crowd. The real master of ceremony. Just getting love shown him by the insane clown posse. And here he is having a dance off with a bunch of Antifa people, I think. You know, I don't know. This takes it into strange directions. There's a bunch of Joes running around. That one wasn't enough. Various degrees of success, I'd say. Which leads me to the latest in our series of battles, such as the Battle of Baldwin Park. Tech-heavy battle, which it seemed to be on this kick, land and sea, sometimes at the same time. This is the Battle of Shasta, involving flying Jeep hybrid vehicles and volcanoes, maybe? The Shasta dwellers seem outnumbered and confused, and they are throwing their rifles, or maybe the rifles are throwing themselves. The Battle of Aliso Viejo, and this guy is not comfortable with curiously deformed calf muscle. Hey Rick, I think your ankle's broken, brah. What makes you say that? Or maybe it's the lava that's actually burning your other foot. I think you need to get some nerve endings tested, Frank. Battle of Copperopolis! I mean, I guess that's a battle. It's rather beautiful, but I don't quite understand. But anyway, I had to try for the remix. So the Battle of Copperopolis, which now apparently exists solely in the sky. Hey, Copperopolis, I tried. The Battle of Lake Tahoe involves only natural elements. You can believe that. This is the Battle of Placerville. Kind of have no comment on. It's disturbing to say the least. The Battle of Beaumont, involving large transformer-type mech creatures and one sure-to-be-dead soon human fellow. The Battle of Bellflower features a living horse statue fireworks show. Guess the battle's over and they're celebrating. The Battle of Rio Grande. Pick up those lightsabers, boys. Do the damn thing. This is the Battle for Calaveras. Or the Aftermath? Or these are survivors? I'm not sure where I was going with that one. Battle of Atwater. Okay. Looks like they're just getting shelled by strange aliens. The Battle of Bell Garden. While I admire his courage, seems fruitless in the face of such a mighty, earth-shattering battleship landing. The Battle of Azusa. The Battle of Banning. Seems pretty peaceful, actually. This is the Battle of California City. I like these casual shoppers while this is going on in the street. The Battle of Carpinteria. God damn, what a cool battle. I'm not sure who's on whose side or what's going on here with the whole fish or this, whatever's happening there, but I like it. It's evil-ish, but I do like it. Here's the Battle for Chula Vista. Sorry about your face there, bud. Hope you guys got dental. This is the Battle of Calexico. Looks like a paintball battle. The Battle of Burbank. It's always so interesting to see which direction this AI takes it. This one I actually ran 3 times in a row, just to see. So we get this one. Then we get the Battle of Burbank here. Looks like horses versus napalm. And then the Battle of Burbank here, which apparently we've abandoned all humanity, and now we're flying ghoul mechs. This is the Battle of Brentwood. Perhaps the strangest one yet. This is the Battle of Danville, which again is somewhat terrifying. So you see here how you have this very Discordianism sort of surrealist quality to some of these. It'll get on these kicks, the AI, and it kind of won't get out of them, so I will shut it down for the day. For example, the following day, this is what it gave me for the Battle of Copperopolis. I don't know, quite different, huh? Although Placerville still got the weirdy weird. The Battle of Brawley, featuring a large ogre who's in berserker mode. The Battle for Cathedral City. Which, man, this is weird. Apparently the city, just like its name, is just nothing but cathedrals and armored death rabbits. The Battle for Carson City is a staring contest of epic proportion and symmetry. The terrifying Battle of Cerritos. Yeesh. The Battle of Ceres, which obviously took a Roman goddess sort of tilt. But after the Battle of Citrus City, I decided to shut it down for the day because these are just getting preposterous. See what I'm saying? The Battle of Cloverdale. The Battle of Coalinga. I like that his hat here is a sparkler. The Battle of Dana Point, featuring land boats and really just a mishmash of weaponry and styles. Kind of cool. And a stealth bomber flying the flag in reverse. The Battle for Culvert City apparently takes place inside of and amongst large culverts. The Battle of Desert Hot Springs. The Battle for Daly City. Looking kind of like got a little cute little tank there. The Battle for Downey. Very stylized and realistic. And the Battle of El Monte. Flying apparitions. And also very stylized. Including this main character from Spaceballs here fighting for someone. Speaking of fake, how about this moon rock that the astronauts and NASA sent to Holland, who then later returned it and said it was actually fake? Well, people don't lie to us. As far as coming up with realistic-looking humans, well, it's far surpassed what I ever believed to be possible, as evidenced by these photographs here, which I feel very strange about creating them somehow with a few key prompts. Which brings me to my next few characters. Nancy Pulovat, Newt Gingrich, Diane Frankenfeinstein, Flock of Smeagol's, Roald Dahl, George Washington, Barry Nadler, Alexander Ocasio-Cortez, Donald Trump, Little Red Elijah, Taco Bell Cosby, Tupac Shakira, The Judge, Jamiroquai, Josie and the Pussycats, DiGiorno, Pizza, Sergio Romano, Sloppy Joe, Joe Day. Back to our Civil War people. Very lifelike. In fact, if it weren't for the buttons, I'd think it was real. What do you mean? My hat? Yes, sir, your hat. It is definitely not standard. That's better. Now a little portrait frame. Boom. Almost there. Now do one in the style of like Studio Ghibli. Boosh! Now in the style of a Chinese portrait. In a dress. Try that again. Make it a male. Perfect. No braids though. Oh my god, yes. Okay, now back to normal. Now, Japanese style wearing braids. Boom. Now a modern Civil War soldier from today. Not bad. Now make a Civil War soldier with wings. Now make a Civil War soldier with wings as a bronze statue. That is perfect. Now make Joe Biden as a Civil War soldier in a portrait. Ah, look at that. Just like real life. Seems like the frame doesn't really fit him. Just sort of stuck in there. A regular portrait of Joe Biden, please. The real Joe Biden. Okay, back to the regular. This is the perfect timing to segue into the corniest song I've ever recorded. While our friend Joe Biden does what's requested of him next. To engage in a high-speed roller skate chase, culminating in him diving off of an Olympic-sized platform. So enjoy this bit of nonsense and I'll see you soon.
Well, one day I can finally chill. Well, yeah, one day I can find out exactly what is real. And one day you're gonna know just how we feel. Because one day we are coming for you. But until then, no. Yeah, one day Uncle Joe won't be sniffing no sugar.